Hey y'all, welcome to the Divine Intervention Podcast, where I try my best to make space and then learn how to take up that space. And I'm actually filming this a couple of days after I dropped my last one. And I woke up today, did my little stretch, did my whole morning routine, incense burning in the back, and I was like, I feel really, really good today. I'm in a podcast mood. Um, and I feel like what's on my heart to be said is that what I noticed about this morning is that I didn't rush. I wasn't anticipating anything. It's like I was kind of just allowing my day to be and allowing myself to be. And I actually had a call that I forgot about, but when it popped across my phone, I was happy because I was like, "Oh my gosh, yay! Like I'm finna go talk to people." And for me, that's such a weird feeling because I am very introverted. And for a long time, I thought that, like, I didn't like people. That is a lie. I love people. I love interacting with people, but I have to, like, recharge my social battery. But today felt so good. I feel like, "Oh, yay. I get to just go talk to people." Like, I'm excited. Um, and so, yeah, I guess with that being said, I can kinda trickle into the topic that I had planned for the second episode, even though I kinda planned on filming this later, but I was in a really good mood, so I was like, why not? I can do that now. I have free will." I love when I remember I have free will and I actually practice it. And so the topic for the second episode and the title is actually nuance. And I chose the word nuance because taking us back to the end of 2025, and I think the first few episodes, I am gonna dive into like my last few months of 2025 because I feel like they were instrumental to shaping the mindset of my 2026. Not only vision board, but like my goals, myself, and what I hope to get out of this year. And I landed on the word nuance because, like I said in the last episode, around November, I entered the second part of a program called Closely Examined. And in this program, we talked a lot about police and civil society and our interactions. And when I first applied to this program, because I love to take things all the way back, I didn't think that we would be having so many conversations about identity. And the program, even in itself, really opened a lot for me because it made me think deeper about kind of how when you walk into a space you're carrying the culmination of like all of every single last one of your experiences, and when you show up you are really a walking, I'm searching for the words, but like you are a walking video diary, like you are a walking list of all of your experience in human form. And the program in itself made me realize um how crucial it really is when you're entering conversations with people, and it made me notice why in certain conversations it's hard to connect with people, or what's blocking us, or like what is the thing that's stopping us from being able to truly see each other. And the program in and of itself was such a frustrating experience for me. And it was frustrating because throughout the program, I realized that I am a fixer. And I like to get in situations and I hear the problem and I'm like, boom, I go straight to the solution. And it made me realize that for some problems, the solution is not that simple. It's not that easy, or not even a simple solution, but that sometimes the space isn't to create a solution. The space is just to acknowledge the problem. Um, and that there are like steps in the journey of solving a problem. It's not a we acknowledge that it's a problem. let's move to solution. Sometimes it's allowing people that the space also made me realize how you can be in a room full of people and everybody is on a completely different page of something. Like, it's like being in a chapter of a book. And when we're discussing things like colonialism and racism and how somebody else can be on the first page of the book, somebody else can be on page 52, and then you have another person who's almost they're halfway through the book. You got somebody else, they on the third book of the series. So they're just like, come on, like we can't even have conversation for real until you get to the page that I'm at. And it in the room, it made me realize that, especially for myself, I leaned back and I was like, Bree, you are, for one, searching for a solution to a problem that has existed way before your existence and anybody in this room's existence. Um, but two, maybe we're not even trying to find the solution to the overarching issue at the moment. Maybe we're just trying to figure out how to exist as people who are in completely different places of the world, um, with completely different experiences. Maybe this experience is just for us to learn how to see each other. Um, and how to interact with each other and how to be with each other. And for me, the program in itself was such a fruitful experience because I've been through many programs and I've been in the role of like the participant and the role of like somewhat of a learning facilitator, which my facilitation journey in and of itself deserves its own episode. But I think that this experience, it really it brought me to the word nuance. And I really leaned into that word because I woke up one day and I was like, hmm, nuance. And it not only showed up for me in that space, but it showed up for me in my personal life, like in things that I was learning about myself, in the topics that me and my therapist was walking through in therapy. Like it was a lot of really truly understanding that so many things can coexist with each other and it doesn't make anyone's experience, anyone's perspective, or anything less valuable or not as important or not as valid, but it still exists. And there's nothing wrong with the acknowledgement of its existence. There's only a problem when you try to speak down on someone else's experience or convince them that what they experienced wasn't a real thing. Um and so yeah, it was really a deep experience for me because it goes back to it made me realize a lot about myself. I was sitting in circles and I would rock back and be like, Bree, you are a fixer. Like you're trying to figure out how to fix the problem. And for one, didn't nobody ask you to fix the problem. So clocked myself there. I was like, didn't nobody even tell you to come up with a solution, but you in here looking for one. You are in here as a participant. You're not in here as a person that's supposed to be putting all of the pieces together. Like that's why you're existing with other people so y'all can put it together. Um and so I feel like it also taught me to slow down and let things just be sometimes. Like learn how to let myself just be. Learn how to sit in uncomfortable emotions because the whole experience was a lot of uncomfortable emotions. It was really layered. But I feel like the most beautiful thing out of all of it is that for every individual that I met through that experience, I they will always have a special place in my memory and in my heart because it was I love programs that just place a bunch of people together that otherwise probably would have never interacted or known each other because it makes you realize how there's literally a friend in anybody, in everybody. And if you meet and the effort is there, even if the conversations are awkward, eventually you're gonna break the ice and you're gonna just be around each other and you're gonna find comfort in each other and familiarity. And to give more context, the program was made up of 20 participants. Bear with me, guys. I'm only good with numbers when it come down to my money. But it was 5 people from the US in Mississippi in Philadelphia. Well, 5 people from Mississippi civil society. And then 5 police officers from Mississippi. And then it was 5 police officers from Philly, so Philadelphia, and 5 civil society members. And then it was 5 police officers from Germany, because the program was held in 2 parts. It was in Germany and then it was in the US. So 5 police officers from Germany and then 5 people in civil society from Germany. And so it was also an experience of me learning, because I'm a very hands-on learner. That's why I love traveling, because it's one thing to read about a place in a book. It's one thing to watch a TV show. It's another thing to search Google. But until you meet a person, it's like everything clicks and it makes a lot of things make sense. And so a lot of the experience in and of itself was a lot of us just making sense of each other. And then I think one of the most unique things is that we would then go to people where people are. So in Germany, we were like in Bad Bevensen, in Berlin, and then we went to Hamburg. And so it's like for every person, we kind of visited where they work and we kind of saw what they do, which gave so much context. And then when you talk to people and you learn a little bit more about their story. And so I feel like the experience in and of itself was not only us having conversations with each other, but it was us really seeing, like, okay, what do you do for work? Like when you walk into a space and you give your opinion, where is that opinion stemming from? And we did it for every place. So then we came to the US, we were in Mississippi, and then we went to and we traveled a couple of places within Mississippi. And then we went to like Philly. And so we went to a couple of places in Philadelphia. And the experience for me, because I'm the type of person that I try really hard to always put myself in other people's shoes. So I'm always like, Bree, don't put yourself in their shoes. You just keep your mind and your thoughts and you put yourself in their shoes. Like, no. Think about this person, their experiences, what they've seen. You don't know everything. But if you are functioning as this person with their experience, how would you see that? Because I think a lot of times what we do is we convince ourselves that we're putting ourselves in other people's shoes, but you're putting yourself in their body, but you're keeping your mind. And that's not the same thing. Because of course you're gonna think the same way, because you're not truly wrapping your head around the entirety of who the person is. Um and so that was just a really big piece of the program for me, but also it taught me, and this is why I'm so glad that I take notes about everything, that I think even in the program, it went back to this idea of like allowing yourself to be, because keeping in mind, everybody came into this room with a title. All of us, we know each other's jobs. We know what kind of work we do. Like we have an idea of like the area that everybody's in. Um But I also felt like throughout the experience, it was us removing titles, and really getting into, like, seeing the person. And so at the beginning of it, you could feel that, like, people would come in with, like, their game face on, like, "Yeah, I'm civil society. Like, I got my good chunk of what I got to say about y'all." And then the police are there like, we here, we representing the police as an institution, like this is that and the third. And it was really a nice experience to just get to see people kind of strip layers. So it's like I'm still civil society, but like this is the entirety of me. Um and a lot of the experience, even just talking to different people, and for this particular experience for me, it was also a really big thing because I have been kind of inching towards, and I was inching towards at the end of 2025, and I didn't I'm not gonna say I didn't realize I did. I've been on this journey with myself, being like, "Bree, be a little bit more open. Like, you don't have to be so closed off from people. Like, you don't have to be so standoffish." So I'm like, just be a little bit more open. Like, you'll never know what happens if you don't try. And so it's also just all of these experiences and being able to connect with people that are from completely different places, but it's like in conversation, we see each other. And that feeling of being seen, especially after you have stripped yourself and you've allowed yourself to just be, and you've just put it out there, the good, the bad, the ugly, your experiences, why you think the way you think, and you're just like, hey, this is me, I'm here. And to have somebody genuinely look at you and be like, I see you, like it was such an impactful experience for me. Um, that I'm actually really grateful for. And so, yeah, I think that one of my biggest takeaways from the program as a whole was genuinely me. I noticed a lot of things about myself. Definitely the fixer piece. I'm gonna have to find the journal because I have a journal for everything. So I scribbled all throughout the journal about this experience. um, but learning how to just be, I noticed that I was a fixer. I noticed that I was walking into the space, the added layer of me being like one of the younger people in the room. So this added layer of like, and then I'm smaller. I always tell people since I'm I'm short, I'm petite, and I'm quiet, and I'm more so on the like. I will be completely fine if you tuck me away with a corner, a book, and some snacks. And you probably won't even have to worry about me saying nothing. And so also just the experiences of me when I'm in groups, it's almost like I have to like hype myself up to talk. Like I'd be like, Bree, this is your time. Like you come on, you can chime in. Like I believe in you. Like you got it. Like I always joke with people. I'd be like, before I go out to like social outings, I have to like hype myself up. I'd be like, you got it. Like you finna go in here, you finna have a great time. I know beforehand that I'm gonna have a great time. But it's like to get myself out the house and to make myself actually open up my mouth and talk. I'd be like, "You got this. Like, I believe in you, Bree. Like, you got this." It'd be like a whole pep talk. Like in Insecure with Issa Rae, like the whole thing, I can't make this stuff up. And it really just also taught me to not be so hesitant to just exist because I feel like, and this goes back to like expectations and standards that I put on myself. I'm very picky with when I talk and like what I say. And I'm very specific with my words. I don't know if it's because I'm a writer or if it's because I always tell people I understand the impact of words. And I feel like a lot of people think that the worst thing that you can do to someone is always a physical thing, which I'm not here to say that it isn't, but I think for me, some of the most impactful things are always what someone allows to come out of their mouth. Because a lot of times as people, I think a lot of times we don't really think about our words and how they hit. And so I'm just really choosy with my words because I'm like, I never want to say something, which is a very large burden to put on yourself, but still. I always say I never want to say something, and that's the thing that revolves in someone's head when they think about themselves, and it's not a good thing. Um, and so it really unpeeled a lot of layers for me in not only thinking about, like, how I show up in spaces, um, but where my head immediately goes to when I show up in spaces and, like, how I'm operating and functioning in spaces. For me, another added layer was, like I said, I'm an introvert, like, I really have to charge my battery, and so when I'm in spaces where I'm constantly interacting with people, I'm always conscious of, like, breathe, try your best to stay tuned in because when I clock out, it's very apparent on my face. It's apparent like I'm a very expressive person. So it's like it just shows. And so that was an added layer of something that was just going in my mind the whole time. Like, I was like, Bree, like, I know that you've been socially interactive for a minute, but like, you got this. Like, smile a little bit. Like, you probably just mean mugging. Like, try. Please just try. Um, and so yeah, taking it back, it really I try to walk into every experience looking at it as not only something that I can learn, um, work wise, I guess, or like career wise, but what can I learn about myself in this space? Like, how am I operating in this said space? And I always think about like, or I always reflect, which is why I always keep a journal on like, where is your head going to in these conversations? Which after I get my hands on that journal, I have a ton of journals, and I don't lose them, but I misplace them because I take them everywhere with me. So I'll probably have a bunch more talking points, but that kind of concludes it for this episode. I could end with a poem today. I'm not sure which poem that I would speak, but I'm sure that there is definitely one up in here because that's all I do is write poems in random little pieces. So yeah, I guess I can do Let Me Free. Stay with me when I say I'm angry, black, and a woman, but I am not an angry black woman. I'm not the caricature America created to fulfill its own capitalistic needs, but a result of people's acceptance of who America has written me off to be. So if you hear a growl in my voice, don't use it to fill your own biases. From the course From my coarse, curly roots to the curve of my hips, before I speak, my tone and words have already been dismissed. So sometimes my growl is the only way you'll hear me. You don't blame the bear when it's poked, but you constantly blame me. My ancestral rage has become my superpower, working its way into my voice when I speak, making my words scream to be free. Thank you. And this wraps up the second episode of the Divine Intervention Podcast, and I'll see y'all in the next one.